Hi, we are here to review Christopher Nolan's 3 hour long magnum opus, or supposed magnum opus, Oppenheimer, starring Cillian Murphy in the lead role and a stellar star cast, amongst others.
Absolutely.
What did you make of it?
So, I got the premise. It was beautifully done in that sense. It was America's um, successful build up of the atomic bomb by this brilliant physicist, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, and the eventual use and consequences in the whole world. Um, in the beginning, I was struggling to cope and understand. Also, because I'm not very familiar with these historical events, etc. The part about his life and how he came to be, what he became, and what he was, uh, could understand. But the rest of it was kind of going over my head, and I was struggling. And then came the second part, and it was like very interesting, and I kind of got involved, invested, which showed. So once he is successful at building the atom bomb and using it, chain of events that led to its build up and the whole team, the politics, and then when it's used, the guy's moral qualms and what eventually happens in the movie is really interesting.
I was disappointed by the movie. The movie is based on a book called American Prometheus. Prometheus, of course, and even the movie begins with a quote, is the god who gifted humans fire. And for that, he was then chained to a rock and tortured for eternity. Anyone who builds these weapons, I'm sure, has moral qualms, especially after maybe along with the usage and seeing the carnage and the sheer devastation that they cause. For me, that would have been an interesting movie premise. For me, the decision on whether to use the bomb or not on these innocent civilians in these two famous cities in Japan, that would have been an interesting, movie in that sense. To learn about what actually led to the bomb coming in terms of the different theories of science, etc., that for me was the interesting part of this movie. But I think a lot more time could have been spent. But instead, what the movie chooses to focus on is American politics. It focuses on we've seen it in God knows how many movies, all the McCarthy movement and the suspicion, and then some clashes and egos and vindictiveness, etc. So I felt the movie just focused on all the wrong things. In fact, the entire narration is through a kind of a kangaroo court hearing, in a sense. So for me, I completely lost interest in those parts, and I had to switch on and off in multiple times. The star cast is brilliant. Cillian Murphy, I've been a fan of since 2005. I think I saw him in Red Eye. Obviously, he's there in the Nolan Batman series as well. There's Emily Blunt, wasted, I thought, in a role. I mean, maybe 2 minutes of fire in her in certain moments. There's Matt Damon, there's Robert Downey Jr. in a way that you've never seen him before. That I thought was interesting.
That was interesting.
Right? There's Florence Pugh, who was outstanding. I thought she was brilliant in the small portion that she had. Casey Affleck, Rami Malek, very, very good. Kenneth Branagh was excellent. And interesting movie, but instead of delving with the traumas of the decision, or with how the world is today, in a sense, I would have loved some discussion, for example, about the nuclear non-proliferation treaty and the sheer arrogance and colonial mindset lying behind it, right? Which is, we will keep our weapons, but you are not allowed to have them. I thought discussions around that would have made for a much nicer movie, rather than what they chose to go with, which is the character of Oppenheimer and what he then went through after the bomb, and etc. etc.
Kind of like trying to redeem certain people from the past and kind of putting them in good light, or in a certain light where you understand their angst, etc. Which sometimes
I thought the angst was fine, and
For him.
you can see that right from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the whole rest of it, why so much focus on that gang? I mean, nobody apart from the US people care about that, right? In that sense. So, if at some point I was asking myself the question, what is the point of this movie? What are you really trying to say?
Actually, yeah.
Are you trying to say, for example, that whoever comes up with such stuff will forever be tarred and feathered at some point in time? But then that wasn't really the case, was it? In another sense. So again, I missed the point of it in that sense. I loved the way they showed how all the Europeans, by the way, the Kangaroo Court looked at the word Europeans with disdain. It's like, you worked with the Europeans? I mean, isn't Berkeley the center of, and he's like, yeah, after I built it. So you can sense the American parochialism come through as well, how they treat everyone with disdain and how they think they're the boss of everybody. But again, that was in snippets. But I just wish they had focused on different aspects of
I
this
agree.
geniuses.
That's what I wasn't able to figure out why. And 3 hours?
3 hours was just like insane. This could easily have been a 2-hour movie.
I'm sorry, but I dozed off somewhere in there.
I know that bit pretty good. But yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, I just kept waiting for different parts to unfold, where they dealt with it, what they dealt with in 2 minutes, I wish they had spent 20. And where they spent 30, I wish they had spent 3. So I think for me that was more where the movie is. Time for the rating. At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 and Ritu has 4. A reversal of where we were with Barbie, by the way. That's our double header for today, 21st of July, the much awaited release of Barbie and Oppenheimer. And yeah, you heard from us. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Thank you.
Thank you.